When Final Fantasy XVI was on the initial press junket, some eyebrows were raised over the lack of inclusion on the cast. Yoshi P, the game's lead producer, gave what was at the time perceived as a less than satisfactory answer when addressing this criticism. He went on to say that the game aims to be a fairly accurate rendition of classic Western fantasy. This sort of media tends to have a lot of white folks in it. The initial thought was that it was kind of silly to assume that there weren't any people of color around in the 16th century Europe era. And then it felt especially silly on top of that when you're considering a game where you're controlling magic beasts and fighting dragons. After playing a number of hours into the game, I think I'm starting to understand why it was actually a good thing we weren't included. And truth be told, I think Yoshi P fed us a soft lie. Before we get into it, I'm Solace, this is Solace and Dread. We produce analytical content as well as reaction videos primarily focused on Square Enix, Nintendo, and Capcom publications. So the game's launch has been mostly positive, but as with most Final Fantasy titles, it's met with some criticism. Mostly from the fans who are holding on to the games of yesteryear and then projecting their expectations onto the new product and then getting upset when the two don't match. Whatever, you can't please everyone. It's been my experience that Final Fantasy's fandom is full of toxic positivity in fierce defense of their favorite franchise. It's different in that you're far more likely to get attacked for disliking a game as opposed to stating that it's your favorite or the best. That brings us to today. The launch of the game has been met with the normal amount of criticism, but the conversation has been dominated by people trying to defend it against the vocal minority who really don't vibe with it. Allegedly, there's people review bombing the game as well, and reportedly there are a lot of Xbox fans doing the normal console war crap, but I haven't verified that myself. The major criticisms of this game seem to lie in the game's side quests and in the combat, but to a lesser degree, the lack of inclusion. But here's the thing, after a few hours of playing through this game, I think this is a good thing. I don't think it'd be a good idea to put us in there. And like I said before, I really think Yoshi P fed us a soft lie when he gave us this reasoning as to why there weren't any black people anywhere to be found in Valisthea. Now, I'm not super far in, but there's a theme that's been recurring. Slavery. One of the character's major motivations is around slavery, in fact. There's some pretty dark themes at play involving slaves and the fact that the branded are seen as subhuman and tools to be used. As annoying as it is now to see people constantly fighting ghosts that allegedly don't like Final Fantasy XVI, imagine if Cid was black. I can see it now. It would have been a losing battle from the start. On both sides. You're either gonna have people offended that there's black people in chains in the video game, affecting their precious feelings, or you're gonna get mad that there's black slave owners. Or, even more so, you're gonna get people mad that there's black people killing slave owners. When you're dealing with this kind of thing, a certain level of tact and risk assessment has to be made. I think when you put all the options on the drawing board and you have to assess what's the best path to go forward, removing us from the equation was the safest and the best way to go about it. I also think that's why Yoshi P said it the way he said it. He knew what we didn't. Now it feels painfully obvious. I'm gonna speak for the black fans on this one. I'm good. You can keep us out of this one. We don't need to hear the weird conversations around us. The woke mob got to Final Fantasy. Black slaves fighting for their freedom in my video game. Wow, Final Fantasy's depicting black people in chains for entertainment? Gross. I'm boycotting this. Honestly, this entire thing is just emotionally exhausting. It's a no-win scenario. I think Square Enix knew that and they made the right call. Now there's fucking idiots like this Jade King person writing articles getting mad that there's no black slaves in Final Fantasy 16 or whatever, attacking the game for it in an article for The Gamer. Fucking duh. It's a product. They want to sell this, not just make social commentary. I get that you gotta write hard-flung opinions to get clicks, but man, some of these journalists, this had to be for clicks. I refuse to believe that this woman is this dense. I'm sorry that there weren't black people in chains in the game for your entertainment. Boo! You're weird. Final Fantasy is no stranger to social commentary, so thinking that this game needed to lean harder into it for whatever reason is just such a backwards take. I think they did plenty a good job. You got the fucking point. Anyway, that's not why we're here. I just think personally that it's a good thing that we were left out of this one. I'm all for black people being included more in video games. Hell, I did a very extensive list of the best black characters of all time and highlighted just how underrepresented we were. But you ain't gotta include us in chains in order for us to be involved. Find us in something else. I gotta applaud the dev team and the writers for taking the safe route on this one. That would have completely dominated the conversation instead of how amazing the game is, thus pissing off everyone far more than they currently are. If you enjoy analytical content on Square Enix products, consider subscribing to the channel. By the way, I hope you enjoyed watching this. And let me know your thoughts. Am I way off the mark? Or was I right? And don't be afraid to type into the comments if you're not black. This is a conversation for everyone. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. And long live the Turtle Kingdom. Final Fantasy's gone woke! Wow.